I'd like to welcome all of our stakeholders and staff tonight. And at this time, I'd like to call to order the October 16th, 2025 regular meeting of the City of Irvine Planning Commission. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Stark.
Here.
Commissioner Park.
Present.
Commissioner Lynn. Here. Commissioner Grossman.
Here.
Commissioner Dela Cusack.
Here.
Vice Chair Bhatia.
Here.
Chair Pearson.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. At this time, I will call on Raj to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the time where the public can make comments on non-agendized items. I will open it up, Madam Secretary, for anybody that cares to make any public comments.
If anyone on Zoom wishes to speak, now is the time to raise your hand. We will take speakers in the chamber first. Chair Pearson, we do not have any public comments on non-agendized items.
Thank you very much. Introductions, Madam Director.
Thank you, Chair. No introductions tonight.
Very good. Do we have any staff reports?
No staff reports tonight.
Are there any announcements, committee reports, or commission reports? Look at my fellow commissioners.
I'd like to make one announcement.
Raj?
Yes, this coming October 30th, there's going to be a Wildfire Ready Irvine event at City Hall. It would be at 6 p.m. October the 30th. It's a Wednesday, just to raise awareness about the wildfires that can occur, ways to mitigate, and the OC Fire Authority, in conjunction with the mayor's office, will be present. So highly encourage anyone who's interested. Of course, we have an agenda with Portola Springs area that's very fire prone. So looking forward to that myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Moving on, any other comments? Seeing none. Are there any additions or deletions, Madam Director?
There are none.
Very good. Then our next order of business will be the consent calendar. There'll be no discussion of these items unless a member of the Planning Commission requests specific item to be removed from the calendar for separate discussion. We have one item, which is the Planning Commission meeting minutes of October 2nd, 2025. I will ask if there's any public comments related to this item.
If anyone on Zoom wishes to speak, now is the time to raise your hand. We will take speakers in the chamber first. Chairperson, there are no public comments on this item.
Very good. Then I will accept a motion or any other comments from the commission.
And Chair Pearson, due to my absence, October 2nd, I was able to review the meeting minutes, the video in its entirety, and I approve the minutes.
Very good. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Let's set us up to vote on it.
Chair Pearson, the motion has carried with 6 in favor and Commissioner Park abstaining.
Very good. Thank you. We will now enter our public hearing period, and at this time, I will open the public hearings and allow Director Frady to introduce item number 2.
Thank you, Chair. Item 2 is a general plan amendment, zone change, pre-zoning, vesting tentative tract map, master affordable housing plan, park plan, and master landscape and trails plan for future residential development located at the northeast corner of Portola Parkway and Jeffrey Road in proposed planning area 2, Gateway Village. Presenting tonight is Senior Planner Erica Hong, joined by Principal Planner Ann Wu.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairperson and members of the Commission. The City of Irvine, in partnership with Brookfield Residential, is proud to present the Gateway Village Residential Project. Prior to diving into the details of the Residential Village project, I'd like to introduce Michael O'Connell with the Irvine Ranch Conservancy to talk about the highly anticipated Gateway Preserve.
Hear me? Okay, now you can hear me, yes. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. My name is Michael O'Connell, and I'm the President and CEO of Irvine Ranch Conservancy. We're a nonprofit organization, and we have been proud to be the city's open space management partner for the last 20 years. Through a cooperative agreement, together we've turned the open space in Irvine into a spectacular resource for the community and all the residents. I was asked to come tonight to talk a little bit about Gateway Preserve, which we are working with the city on as part of sort of the broader context, because the Gateway Village and the Jeffrey Open Space Trail and the Trailhead and the Gateway Preserve are all part of a larger regional package. So I want to give you some details about the preserve component of it before you dive into the discussion of the village. So the Gateway Preserve is the result of the closing of the All-American Asphalt plant and the donation of 711 acres of land from the Irvine Company to the city. This will create then the Gateway Preserve. A little bit of background on the visitor facilities. There's 2 major components of the preserve. There's the visitor facilities and there's the natural resource management. Background on the visitor facilities. We've identified alignments for 9 miles of new trails, and these are very exciting trails. A lot of the trails on the open space are just repurposed old ranch roads because of the restrictions for natural resources. In this case, we're going to be able to create 9 miles of purpose-built trails that have been designed for the enhancing visitor experience. So it's very exciting, and it will minimize habitat impacts. The primary trailhead that you can see here down in the lower right-hand corner, there's a little icon of a car. That is the Jeffrey Open Space Trail, northern trailhead. It's also going to be the primary trailhead for the preserve for people to access it. The preserve will be open for daily self-guided access, which is important. You can see all the green lines on there are the proposed trail system. There's also a couple of other components that are yet to be planned, but we've identified. One is the site of the All-American Asphalt plant, which has been decommissioned. My understanding is that the facilities are going to be removed in the next month or so. And once that happens, it becomes sort of a blank slate to decide what to do with. There are some restrictions that we can talk about at some other time. And then the other quarry site that is in the right-hand side of that orange polygon, that is also going to be decommissioned, and that will be the primary visitor experience for the preserve. Those 2 areas will be planned later on. So in terms of natural resources, there's a tremendous amount of potential here. This is a beautiful site for nature, a lot of biological diversity. One of the most important things to know is that the entire area is within the Natural Community Conservation Plan reserve system, which is a larger conservation and development plan that the city is a partner to and also a permittee, and it places restrictions and conditions on what can be done in there. The way we're dealing with that is essentially through an entitlement document called a Resource and Recreation Management Plan. That plan has been in preparation for the last year or so. We are currently in the last stages of it. In fact, we've addressed all of the comments from the regulatory agencies, and then the federal government shut down. So we're awaiting a concurrence letter from the agencies, and when that happens, the plan will be official. It will authorize the trails. It's going to authorize about 110 acres of habitat restoration to partly offset the development of those trails. And it will identify a lot of other natural resource management components to the preserve. A few other things for you to know at this stage. I mentioned it's part of the NCCP reserve system. Public safety and enforcement will be conducted by the Irvine PD Open Space Patrol, like they do now on the rest of the open space preserve, and we're working with Chief Kent and his team to identify the capacity needed for that. We're going to conduct a long-term management program that's going to involve removal of invasive species and particularly fire prevention and management, a very, very important topic. There, we've had 3 fires come through that area in the last 21 years, and so fire management is very, very important, as well as trail access and management on a daily basis. There are a lot of cultural resources there, and management of that will be important, and we're coordinating with the indigenous communities on that. And then one of the most exciting parts for me is that it's a huge opportunity for the community to get involved through volunteerism and outreach and education. So we could not be more excited about this. This is starting from scratch and creating a resource that's going to be significant, not just in Irvine, but for the entire region. So thank you for the opportunity to present.
Thank you very much. I would hope that in part of this trail system, we'll include some mountain biking.
We are working with the mountain biking community. There isn't a lot of vertical elevation, so we're looking at beginner and intermediate trails, but that's definitely a component of it.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Michael, for the comprehensive overview of the preserve. And now, just outside the preserve and serving as the gateway to the preserve will be up to 1,138 residential units, complete with multiple neighborhood parks, community park, and featuring 284 affordable units, aptly called Gateway Village. The project site is generally located at the northeast corner of Portola Parkway and Jeffrey Road at the base of the Santiago Hills in North Irvine. The area has seen recent development, including the residential communities of Portola Springs and Orchard Hills. The western boundary of the site is adjacent to the planned northern extension of the Jeffrey Open Space Trail, also known as the JOST, and this will extend bicycle and pedestrian access in the area. As Michael mentioned, the proposed residential village project is the result of 2 key agreements, which included the closure of the All-American Asphalt plant and Irvine Company's donation of the land for Gateway Preserve. A mix of product types will be offered through the project, including 2 to 3-story detached and attached single-family residential units, as well as multifamily apartment homes. A summary of the requested entitlements is shown on the slide. The Planning Commission is only asked to provide a recommendation to City Council on all the applications before them because the environmental document is not yet final, but will be before City Council makes a decision on the project. In detail, the project requires a general plan amendment to create Planning Area 2, a new residential village which will be known as Gateway Village. The amendment would revise the general plan land use map to redesignate land on the project site from recreation to medium-high density residential, with high density residential designation on the affordable housing portion of the site to support the proposed development. The general plan amendment also necessitates revisions to the general plan land use element tables, including Table A-1 and A-2. Additional tables and figures from specific general plan elements are proposed to be amended to reflect the creation of Planning Area 2. A zone change is also being requested to rezone the site to 2.4J medium-high density residential for consistency with the general plan land use designation. A 2-acre portion of the project site is located within County of Orange jurisdiction. A zone change is being requested to pre-zone this portion of the site to allow for annexation into city boundaries, which will ultimately provide for the efficient provision of services for the residential units. The vesting tentative tract map will create 17 numbered lots and 6 lettered lots. The A-level map will establish the backbone infrastructure of the development, including 4 entry points to the development, 3 along Jeffrey Road and 1 along Portola. The entryway streets will be interconnected through the main interior spine street, which is shown on the map as C Street. A master affordable housing plan is a requirement when creating a new planning area, and the submitted plan provides for a comprehensive overview of the affordability levels for the project. Of the proposed 1,138 units, 284 units will be restricted to lower income households, with 3 unrestricted property manager units. These units will be constructed on lots 1 and 8 of the tract map. Lot-specific affordable housing plans will be submitted with future entitlements for each affordable development. A park plan has been submitted to demonstrate how the proposed residential project complies with the City of Irvine park dedication requirements. Since 25% of the units are affordable to lower-income households, a concession is being requested to apply a reduced park dedication rate, which is typically only permitted for affordable units, across all dwelling units at the project site. This concession would lower the required dedication rate to 3.5 acres per 1,000 residents, a portion between 1.5 acres of community park and 2 acres of neighborhood park. The project's community park obligation will be met through 3.1 acres of land dedication, 0.16 acres of improvement credit, and 0.58 acres will be met through the payment of in lieu fees. The neighborhood park obligation will be met through 2.27 acres of land dedication, 0.78 acres of improvement credit, and 2.07 acres will be met through the payment of fees. In accordance with the provisions of the Irvine Municipal Code and the Parks and Parks Facility Standards Manual, the applicant has submitted a fair market value land appraisal in conjunction with the proposed park plan in order to request the payment of in lieu fees and improvement credits. The CBRE Inc. appraisal dated August 2025 sets the current fair market value of land to be purchased for park purposes at $5,150,000 per acre. In total, the project will be dedicating approximately 5.4 acres of land to recreational spaces. 3.1 acres of land will go towards the planned public community park located at the end of the Jost extension, which will serve as the entrance to the adjacent Gateway Preserve. The remaining portion of the public park will be dedicated once the final leg of the Jost, which is currently owned by Irvine Company, is built adjacent to the development. Amenities at the community park will include a trail information kiosk, activity lawn, shade structure, bike repair station, bike racks, and restrooms. On-site parking will be available at the park. The remaining 2.27 acres of land will support the creation of 4 neighborhood parks, 2 of which are part of a linear park system that will serve to further connect the development to the Jost and surroundings. The other 2 parks, Neighborhood Park A and B, will be located central to the development. Neighborhood Park A will feature a variety of community amenities, including 2 pools and a tot lot. Neighborhood Park B will feature spaces for community garden beds and barbecues, amongst other amenities. The development itself is not gated, but Neighborhood Park A is gated due to the presence of the swimming pools. All park spaces and amenities proposed to receive credit meet the minimum design standards required by the Irvine Parks and Park Facilities Manual. All parking spaces for the proposed neighborhood parks are conveniently located on internal streets within a 300-foot walking distance. The Master Landscape and Trails Plan memorializes and reflects the development plans along the village edges of Planning Area 2. The JOST will provide a vibrant western edge, promoting outdoor activities and connectivity with a strong landscape character. The landscape will be designed to integrate seamlessly with the existing neighboring communities while also incorporating Mediterranean aesthetics. The primary spine street will reflect the landscape character of the neighborhood park, while the residential streets will have a more structured layout, offering a balanced experience throughout the community. The development itself will be connected to the surrounding areas through the establishment of a network of interior public sidewalks that provide direct access to the pedestrian and bicycle pathways at the JOST. The project is located within the Irvine Unified School District boundaries. Students would likely attend Eastwood Elementary School, Stonegate Elementary School, Jeffrey Trail Middle School, and Northwood High School. IUSD provides formal assignments for new development typically 2 years prior to first occupancies. Long-term district-wide projections do not show capacity shortages at the secondary school level, but IUSD may adjust boundaries or add classrooms at Jeffrey Trail Middle School or Northwood High School. Additionally, the project is required to pay its fair share of development impact fees. The project is located within a Melrose Community Facilities District and will generate sufficient funds to provide K-12 facilities at the district's discretion. The project is also in close proximity to retail amenities such as the Northwood Town Center, Orchard Hill Shopping Center, and Woodbury Town Center. All 3 centers will conveniently provide grocery stores, medical and legal offices, restaurants, banks, and a variety of retail options for the residents of Gateway Village. The respective applications were reviewed by the respective advisory bodies, including Transportation Commission, Subdivision Committee, and Community and Library Services Commission. All 3 advisory bodies unanimously recommended approval of the application, and no public comments were received during the public meetings. Pursuant to Section 15161 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines, a project-level environmental impact report was prepared to evaluate the potential environmental impacts of the project. The draft EIR was released for public review on September 5, 2025, with the end of the comment period to occur on October 20th, 2025. The scope of analysis provided in the draft EIR encompasses a larger project boundary, including both the proposed residential development and the projected extension of the JOST. The draft EIR analyzed the development of up to 1,360 residential units, which is the maximum contemplated by the general plan amendment. All feasible mitigation measures and alternatives identified in the draft EIR are incorporated into this project. Mitigation measures have been incorporated to reduce project impacts to less than significant for certain environmental criteria. However, the draft environmental impact report concludes that the project would result in significant and unavoidable project-specific and cumulative impacts to the environmental criteria listed on the slide with the implementation of mitigation measures. Therefore, a statement of overriding considerations will be part of the final environmental impact report to be reviewed and considered by City Council. The City has received comments, including a comment from the Local Agency Formation Commission of Orange County requesting clarification in the environmental document related to the annexation. Another comment was received from Lozu Drury, LLP, submitted on behalf of Supporters Alliance for Environmental Responsibility, also known as SAFER, indicating that the draft EIR fails to impose all feasibility mitigation measures to reduce the project's impacts. However, as mentioned previously, the City has incorporated all feasible mitigation measures to reduce the project's impacts to less than significant as analyzed in the draft EIR, and a statement of overriding considerations will be part of the final document. The Juanino Band of Mission Indians also submitted a comment letter requesting to consult on the project, and 2 comment letters from members of the public were received that describe concerns related to traffic, schools, commercial facilities, loss of farmland, impacts to nearby residents, loss of recreation, and evaluating other areas of the city for the development. With that, staff recommends Planning Commission recommend approval of the Gateway Residential Project through adoption of the 6 drafted resolutions. Both staff and Brookfield Residential are available to answer any questions. Derek Spalding from Brookfield Residential has also prepared a presentation for your commission tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a co-application. Is there any comments or statements from our other party? I see somebody coming forward.
Oh, thank you. Dave Bartlett. I am an executive with the local office of Brookfield, Southern California's division. We're going to have a brief presentation that will probably conclude collectively, all 3 of us talking for a period of maybe 6 minutes, if that's okay, Mr. Chair.
That is fine. We'd like to hear it.
Okay. I'll try not to repeat some of the things that were previously mentioned. When the RFP was issued in 2023, we started working very closely with the city staff, and then we were selected, and then in 2024, we initiated the planning process here before you this evening, which includes the affordable housing plan, the tentative track map, and the package of entitlements under consideration this evening. Brookfield, just a snippet, we are an international company, but we do have strong roots here in Orange County. We've built and planned several thousand units on the Irvine Ranch and throughout Southern California, so we know our way around the community fairly well. The local experience that we bring to the table helps us build upon our community approach, community-centric approach, which has resulted in really a strong emphasis on connected community and livability and attainability as defining principles of this particular plan. In partnership with the city, you can't do your planning on your own. So in partnership with the city, we've really, I think, shaped what we believe is a really good master plan community, and it provides a spectrum of housing choices that include all ranges, so that it's really hitting that attainability factor strongly. And as was mentioned previously, one of the defining factors of this particular site is that not only does it include the Jost, the extension of the Jost, but it clearly provides a springboard into the Gateway Preserve open space, which is critical. We just want to reaffirm our commitment to the community, to plan and to execute and to deliver what we think is going to be a best-in-class community, and we're here to answer any questions when the time comes. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Derek Spalding. I'm with Brookfield Residential. I work alongside Dave in our Southern California office. I'm just going to go through some of the same slides, but highlight some points that really speak to the development concept. So when we started looking at this community and this amazing site, we had to take a step back. I mean, you just saw the presentation from the IRC. These are incredible amenities to place next to a residential community. So how do you access them? How do you connect to them? That's been at the forefront of our planning. So here's our site plan. It's been shared in the prior presentation by staff. And I'd actually like to take a moment and acknowledge the hard work with the City of Irvine staff across multiple departments to get this project here before you tonight for consideration. So 1,138 units, of which 25% will be affordable. So that's 284 affordable homes with 3 on-site manager units. Let's just start at the community main entry. It's quite dramatic. You're going to cross over Jost. So there's an overpass across Jost. You have a grand boulevard through the heart of the community, homes flanking the main street, homes facing that street. So you have front doors oriented to the street. That's another theme throughout the community. And you arrive at the main amenity, which will really become the focal point of this community. Here is a rendering. We're looking from, Orchard Hills is behind us, across Jost and Jeffrey Road, and you see one of the main Paseo links to Jost. So residents will be able to connect to Jost, the trailhead, and the preserve, not just on public sidewalks, but also this internal network that's central to the development. And here we have the Trailhead Park that you've heard about this evening. It's really going to become a hub of activity for all the hikers and mountain bikers that will be accessing the preserve. Want to note, and you see in the right-hand side there on the Jeffrey Road shoulders, the Irvine Connect bus stop that's proposed that will give wider range access to the preserve and all the incredible open space opportunities here for the broader city. And here we saw this slide on the prior presentation, but there's 2 areas I'd like to highlight. The first one is the 8-foot wide walk that bisects the entire site going north to south. So that allows bi-directional traffic. We heard at the Community Services Commission that's incredibly important. You want to be able to walk down the sidewalk and someone can ride down it on their bike safely. And then also in the right-hand corner there on C Street, the community park, the Trailhead Park is going to be a central part of activity, and you're going to have the IRC's native seed farm and their interpretive center down C Street. And so there will be an 8-foot wide walk there and also a bike lane because we know there's going to be a lot of bike traffic. And here's the street scene. This is the central backbone road. Just wanted to take a moment and highlight here that, all the homes, wherever it's possible, are front door facing to the streets. So that really gives you a sense of community. We're taking advantage of the elevation differences by creating the stoop effects with you walk up steps to your front door and your front patio. It really activates the street. It also provides visual interest as you're going down our main street with massing and different housing types. And here's a typical Paseo connection again, front door facing home. You walk right out your front door, you're onto the Paseo, and then you're into the Jost moments later. And here's our main park amenity. Staff really went into the details on it. I just want to kind of step back on our planning. We wanted to make sure it's commensurate with the other, the level of amenities that you expect in an Irvine community. So if you go to the neighborhood surrounding Gateway, it's on par with those communities. And it also is a balance to all the open space activities that are immediately surrounding Gateway. We have that resort style amenity level that everyone expects. And then at our other park, we have kind of a novel concept that we've seen work at other master plans very well, and that's the community garden. It's curated by the HOA, it's professionally managed, but it really allows you to connect with your neighbor in this kind of passive, organic way. So that will be featured here, and it kind of plays tribute to the history of the site and its roots as farmland. So let's look at the housing program, because that's another major design principle for Gateway Village. Affordable housing, we've all talked about it. It's a key point. If you look at AMI in County of Orange, so area median income is $136,000. So if the affordable range is going up to 80% of AMI, that's a crucial missing link for providing housing in our communities for people that live and work in the city. And then also on the market rate side, so 851 market rate homes. We have 6 different product segments in 2- and 3-story homes. And square footage ranges from 1,000 square feet to 2,600. and 1 to 5 bedrooms. So we get the attainability with the smaller unit sizes, the smaller bedroom counts, but we also can support growing families with the larger bedroom counts and everyone in between. And then we also have the affordable rental program. I'll turn it over to my colleague, Terry Moss, who will speak to our community outreach efforts that we engaged in this past summer.
Thank you, Eric.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Terry Moss. I'm working along the side with Brookfield Residential and the development of Gateway. To give you a little bit of background, I'm very, very familiar with Irvine. I was a resident of Irvine for many, many, many years, going back to the agricultural days of the Irvine Company. And I also was with the Irvine Company for 14 years as project manager and vice president overseeing Orchard Hills, Eastwood, Stonegate, Portola Springs. So working with Brookfield has been a pleasure, I have to say, and real excited to see this development move forward. So one of the aspects of this project that we thought was very important was to reach out to the community. Knowing and sitting on various HOA boards, just wanted to make sure that we drew the community in, educating them about the project, and answer any questions or concerns they would have in regards to the site, and walk them through the development, how the project is developed, what we're going to be developed, and what we're providing for the community. So that was kind of the overview that we gave them, looking at the site overall. Asked about any of their concerns, educate them about the traffic, the circulation, the parks that will be built, the stores that are within the areas, and just the convenience of this property and where it's located. And the special aspects of this property being the last, being the last development in this area. So we are very excited that there was a lot of positive reinforcements for this community, and we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
At this time, then, I will open it up for public comments.
If anyone on Zoom wishes to speak, now is the time to raise your hand. We will take speakers in the chamber first. Chair Pearson, we do not have any public comments on this item.
Thank you very much. Then at this time, I will allow the commissioners to question either the applicant or the applicant. And I will start with Brenda.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation. I know it took a lot of work to come to this with closing the asphalt plant, which was a major concern for the residents in North Irvine. I wanted to go through a few questions. One was regarding where the affordable units are. I saw that there will be iConnect stops. Will there also be OCTA bus stops nearby the lot areas? I think it's 1 and 8 where the affordable units were.
Thank you, Commissioner Lynn. So here you can see the various Orange County Transportation Authority and Irvine Connect transit routes throughout the city. In the zoomed-in window of this map, you can see the project site outlined in red. The current closest bus stop to the site is located at the northwest corner of Jeffrey Road and Portola Parkway at that intersection and serves Irvine Connect. The closest bus stop that serves OCTA, the bus route for OCTA, is located at the intersection of Jeffrey Road and Irvine Boulevard, approximately 1 mile from the project site. That stop serves OCTA Route 167. And a new transit stop, actually, as mentioned, is being proposed along Jeffrey Road at the northeast corner at the beginning of C Street through Irvine Connect as well. So that new Irvine Connect transit stop will be located around here, and the affordable lot 8 is here, and the other affordable Lot 1 is located here.
Okay, great. Thank you. And the affordable units, will they be for sale or are they rentals?
They are for rental.
All of them, okay. Yeah, oh yeah, it's a 55-year affordable term, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I know this is under the purview of the Community Services Commission, but seeing the tot lot and just knowing this area of Irvine, it tends to be warmer. And in general, I'm an advocate for more shade in our tot lots and for the playgrounds. So I was wondering if more can be done, because that image, I don't know if it's an accurate image or it's just something similar we're looking at where the swings were, but there was no shade above that area. So anything, just wanted you to note, or just wanted it to be noted, if we can add more shade structures, increase, that would be much appreciated for all the young families in the area. In terms of the JOST extension, is that consistent in terms of the width with the rest of the JOST that currently exists in terms of 12 feet wide?
I believe that the final details of the JOST are forthcoming, and the applicant can provide more information.
While we haven't been involved with the previous versions of the JOST development, we can confirm it's 12 feet wide, and that's consistent.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to make sure it's a great width, and I just wanted to make sure that it was consistent there. And in terms of the community park, I know, again, this is under the Community Services Commission purview, but do we know what sports amenities would be provided for in terms of fields or which, because I know that concern has been brought up by community services in terms of not having enough sports parks, the need for additional.
Commissioner Lynn, thank you for that question. The South Park is not going to be a passive park. They aren't going to have any athletic fields at that location.
In the community park, is that what you're referring
Yes.
to? Okay,
Yes.
right. Okay. And that's it for now, Chair.
Thank you very much, Randa. Arnis.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, staff, and for the applicant to bringing forward this project. It's great to see the pace of this. In like 2.5 years, we're already here. It's not every day we get 700 acres, and I know in comparison, the Irvine Regional Park is 495. So to have your next door neighbor be that preserve is incredible. That being said, I had just a couple questions, Chair. The first question I had was, what's like the overall timeline we're looking at? I know the market is kind of in flux. It seems it changes every day, but in a good scenario, I know from here you're going to go to council. What are you looking at in breaking ground?
Thank you for that question. So we intend to break ground, start land development in summer of 26, start model homes in early summer of 27. So with the first home selling in fall of 27. And with that, with the community opening for sale, JOST and the Trailhead Park would be open as well. That's the plan.
Excellent. So the JOST would be constructed before the homes, it sounds like?
It'll run concurrently with our schedule.
Great. And for staff or for the preserve, is that going to be done like in phases? I know it's 700 acres is not going to be done overnight, yeah, but are you looking at what's like the timeline you're looking at to getting that open to the public?
Michael, can you please come back up and talk about phasing for the preserve? Thank you.
So as I mentioned, we're waiting for the finalization of the Resource and Recreation Management Plan. One thing that's really important to know is that if we open the preserve before the JOST and the village are done, there's nowhere to put people. So there's nowhere to stage them, there's nowhere to park. So we're kind of drafting along behind that. Once the Jeffrey Open Space trailhead is complete, it's probably going to be about the same timing, early 2027. Yeah, that'll give us time to get the trails all prepared and everything. We may do some guided hikes out there in the meantime, but the daily self-guided access won't happen until after we have everything prepared.
Thank you. And one last question. Melrose, that's definitely going to be, or CFD's going to be part of this Brookfield development, is correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that'll just be all disclosed for the buyers. Correct.
Thank you, Arnis.
Thank you.
I'll go down to John.
Thank you, Chair. No questions.
Very good. Then Seth.
First of all, thank you to staff for a great presentation. I want to commend the applicant for your outreach. I was able to attend and have a conversation with all of you at Stonegate, and you were there and answered all the questions of all the residents to the best of your ability, and I think that's much appreciated. Just a couple of questions, very excited about this, but the bridge that will go across Portola, can I confirm, whether it's from staff or from the applicant, that that will be done prior to the sales of the first homes or for the first people moving in, as is an important safety transportation?
The Jost overcrossing is to be complete in time for the model units.
Excellent, excellent. That will, can you just elaborate a little bit for how that will connect into the trails for the proposed going into schools? So for Jeffrey Trail Middle, it's right down the Jeffrey Trail, but can you talk a little bit about that, just for transparency's sake, of how children will be getting to schools?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that question, Commissioner Grossman. So the overcrossing will be built over Portola Parkway. As you can see, there are existing sidewalks shown in red on this image that will connect directly to the Portola Parkway Jost overcrossing, and the overcrossing will also be connected directly to the existing Jost that's currently in place along Jeffrey Road, which also has pedestrian and bicycle networks available for the students to use.
Okay. And just one more question or comment. I think that it's more of a comment. The 25% affordable housing, I think, is an incredibly important contribution to the community. And also, I believe this is one of a project that we've seen recently that gets into what I think you used the phrase, and I like, attainable housing, and helps us to be able to get into that space where we're not necessarily at the absolute top end of the market. I believe this is a unique addition to the overall landscape, and I commend you for creating that variety of options for us. So no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll go to Jeff now.
Thank you for the presentations. I want to thank Mr. McConnell for taking Kathleen Traceder and her staff on a tour of the preserve. It is a beautiful piece of property. And to think of the ecological significance of it, one of the facts that you told us was that all the hawks in this area actually go there in the spring to nest and then spread out throughout the city. So those are so important for keeping down the rats and the rabbits. But it really excited that this is going to be a resource for the city. A couple questions I have. There's site work being done on the Jost now. Is that the city doing that? Or is that Brookfield?
I can tell you it's not Brookfield.
Okay.
That's work done by the
Irvine
Irvine Company.
Company.
Oh,
as
Irvine
part of
Company.
their Jost improvements.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. And the city still owns this property, right? No, not the Jost, but the project site?
Correct.
And when will that convey to Brookfield?
I'd like to call Pete Carmichael up. Oh, never mind.
Thank you for that question. So the deal structure is the land will convey to the home builders 60 days prior to a home sale closing to a member of the public. So the city is really, in effect, the master developer and is selling lots, finished lots to the builders. And that's the deal structure. And one of the builders will be Brookfield Residential, purchasing lots from the city.
I see. And is the city responsible for any of the site work?
Yes, in the partnership structure, the city is responsible for the site development work.
Okay, thank you. Those are all my questions.
Thanks, Jeff. I'll go to Raj.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for city staff and the applicant, Michael, Dave, Eric, and Terry. I have been to the landing at Tustin Legacy, looking at some of the Brookfield when it first began its construction. I was thoroughly impressed with the variety of different elevations and home styles. And so this, I think, would be an apt location, given that although it's a complex project, we have the entrance from Jost sort of segueing into the preserve, that bridge that's going to be instrumental. Obviously, the annexation of the county parcels into our city control. I think it's perfect. I had a few quick questions regarding, so are we going to revisit this to the planning next year sometime? This could be a city staff question.
Yes, the project right now does not include any master plan applications, so there will be future master plan applications associated with the residential component of the project.
Got it. Okay. And is that going to go more granular into the aesthetics,
Yes.
the overall appearance of the park and the community overall? Or?
Yes.
It is. Okay. The reason I bring that up is because the city council unanimously approved the urban forestation master plan 7.0 on Tuesday, and a lot of those aesthetics and quality of even trees and shade and species, especially in a fire-prone area, would be very instrumental to see what kind of trees and we choose in that area to mitigate fire. So I want to bring that up. I had a question for the applicant, or perhaps city staff: sustainability, EV parking, charging stations, any solar plans in that area?
Thank you for that question. So on the sustainability front, all the homes will be all electric, and they will comply with the California Green Code, which on residential units, you have to be EV ready. On the multifamily, there's a percentage of parking spaces that have to have EV chargers installed. And then at the parks, so the community park, that will be the trailhead park, that will have EV parking required. And in the private amenity parks will also have to have EV chargers.
Okay, perfect. And Eric, while you're there, I wanted to ask you about the affordable housing, the affordable units. Are they going to be uniform in terms of elevation and look and appearance with the market rate homes?
Yes, they'll be compatible.
They will be compatible.
And that will be brought forward during the master plan process.
Okay, great. I like the fact that it's 284 affordable units. That's really good. I had a question regarding the bridge. As my fellow commissioner Seth had brought up, the Jost pedestrian bridge and trail connection, would that be ADA compliant, and will it have proper lighting, especially for the community part of it?
Yes, the project will meet all accessibility requirements and provide adequate lighting.
Okay, excellent. And last question about the fee in lieu for the parks. It's totaling about $13.6 million, and we've asked this question for VKCC in the past. In terms of those funds and the fee, although it's probably, and I'm answering my own question, is it going to be citywide in terms of the usage?
The fees that we're collecting are not designated for a specific area within the city. However, if we receive council direction at any time to keep fees within a certain area, we would certainly do so, but they would be dedicated for parks and recreation facilities specifically, but they could be used throughout the city.
Okay, perfect. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raj. I'd like to compliment both parties, city and Brookfield. This is a very comprehensive plan. I've looked at the conditions of approval on each one of the resolutions and have found them to be quite extensive. the development regulations, both in the general plan and zoning, I believe are very complementary to the city of Irvine, and will develop a very good product when we are able to see the master plan and B maps for all the individual areas. My questions, I think my fellow commissioners have basically answered, you know, the majority of what I've got. We've got the city as a property owner, we've got the Irvine company as a property owner, and the preserve is currently, has it been transferred by the Irvine company to the appropriate entity? Mr. Carmichael, maybe you can give us a little insight in how this is going to evolve.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Pearson, and good evening, commissioners. The transfer of land from the Irvine company to the city is in process for the preserve, so some are now in city ownership, some are ready for transfer, and we're just finalizing all the conveyance documents.
Okay, so, and then from what I understand, the trigger for the city to sell individual parcels within the development is prior to the sale of the residences.
It is, and sorry if I wasn't clear, I was talking about the preserve land is in process of transfer. The Gateway Village proper is all in city ownership currently.
Right.
So those will, as Mr. Spalding mentioned, the Gateway Village lots will be transferred to the builder on a phased basis throughout the development process.
So the city will be able to take advantage of the appreciation of the land as it moves forward?
There's a shared arrangement. So to the extent the neighborhood is successful, the city and the developer kind of sit on the same side of the table in that regard, and both parties participate.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Everybody needs to win on this one. Thank goodness for the city taking the opportunity to eliminate AAA up there.
Indeed.
Other than that, I think most of my questions have been answered. I thank both Dave, Eric, and Terry, and Michael. I'm looking forward to a fantastic development and opportunity for open space utilization. So at this time, I will look and ask if there's any other. Seth? No? Branda?
I just had a follow-up question, because I believe years ago the Gateway was originally going to be planned before the All-American Asphalt plant issue arose to be a community park, and I believe there were plans to make it fields and a lot of the sports amenities that we in the community have been asking for. So I know as our city is developing, we have a lot of infill, but in terms of addressing that need that we had or those plans, is there anywhere else we're looking at to perhaps provide those recreational facilities that were originally planned for the Gateway?
I think that those were centralized at Great Park. So that opportunity in this location is no longer.
Okay, thank you. And I did want to commend the applicant and the city just working together on these plans. It's something new. And in terms of the garden, the community garden, I know that there are advocates in our community that have been asking for that for a while. I know it's an HOA-run garden, so it's not open to the public, but it is something that's different and new, and that the community has been wanting. So I do thank you all for adding that, and that's it, Chair.
Thank you, Branda. Raj?
Thank you, Pearson. I had a question regarding schools. I know we always hear the term adding classrooms, but what does that really entail? Do we have information, or is it at the discretion of schools to build structures, or is it portables? how are they going about tackling at least the influx of new students? I experienced that in my own district at Great Park with Cadence, so I really need to know about that.
Thank you for the question, Vice Chair. So Stonegate Elementary School is undergoing an 8-classroom expansion to be completed in fall of 2026. And earlier this year in January for Eastwood Elementary School, an 8-classroom expansion was completed to house some of the students generated from this development.
Okay. Thank you very much. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a couple questions. We're looking at a in lieu fee of $10.6 million for the neighborhood parks. And I'm questioning, yeah, thank you. I'm questioning where will these funds go, and will it benefit the project in any way?
I can respond to that, Chair. As you know, the fees we collect for in lieu park fees go in a shared fund for the use of future improvements to public facilities. At this time, I don't think these funds have been earmarked. It may well turn out that they are used for improvements that benefit the neighbors of this new planning area, but it just hasn't been earmarked yet.
Okay, I knew the answer to that, but it would be very nice if we could use those funds to somehow improve that entire area, including the open space recreational areas. The other thing is a question on the timing in which the appraisal was made. It's stale in July of 26. And I'm wondering if we will have to go through a renegotiation on a new appraisal at that time.
So, Chair, the way our appraisals work and the assessment of fees is at the time the fee is paid, it's based upon the then valid appraisal. If we do get to the point where these in lieu fees have not been paid and the appraisal expires this summer, we have the option to either increase the land value based on the CPI, construction price index, or we can have a new appraisal drawn. So we'll reassess the fees at that time.
Understood. That concludes, I think, our questions and comments. I will close the public hearing, and at this time, recognize a motion to approve as staff has recommended.
I would like to make a motion. As I'm very excited on behalf of District 1 to have this last major parcel developed, and so I would like to make a motion to approve all resolutions for approval for the development of the Gateway Village.
I'll second that, Chair.
Second? Oh,
Brenda did say so.
we have a motion and a second, and let's take a vote.
Chair Pearson, the motion to pass all 6 resolutions has passed unanimously.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you, staff. Thank you for our joint applicants. We're looking forward to seeing this back in front of us with the A maps or B maps and master plans. Thank you. So thank you. Director Frady, we are looking at item number 3 on our agenda. I will allow you to introduce the item.
Thank you, Chair. Our next item is conditional use permit modification to allow the 24-hour operation of an existing gas station and convenience store with extended hours for beer and wine sales at Northwood Town Center in Planning Area 8, Northwood. Presenting our Senior Planner, Eric Martin, joined by Principal Planner, Chris Chung.
Very good. I will open the public hearing and let's proceed.
Thank you, Chair Pearson, and good evening to yourself and members of the Planning Commission. Oh, I need to start it. Excuse me. Good evening to yourself and members of the Planning Commission. As Stephanie mentioned, tonight I'll be presenting the Northwood Town Center 76 gas station conditional use permit modification. I'll start with providing context about the project site. It's shown on this image, and it's located within the Northwood Town Center, a 19-acre community shopping center consisting of retail, office, and restaurant uses. The center is embedded within a residential area with single and multifamily homes surrounding it, and it's zoned 4.1 neighborhood commercial and designated neighborhood commercial in the general plan. In terms of background for the Northwood Town Center, an initial site design and conditional use permit were approved in 1979 for the overall center and the subject gas station site. Conditions were issued within that approval to require additional site designs for specific sites, including the subject gas station and convenience store site. And as a result of that, in 1980, the site design for our project site was approved, establishing the site plan and the architectural design of the project site. Most recently, in May of this year, the Community Development Director approved a minor modification to these entitlements, which allowed the expansion of the retail component into a full convenience store, all within the existing building footprint and within the service bay areas that are no longer in use. With that approval, 2 conditions were also issued that limited operations by limiting the hours of operation for the convenience store and gas station, allowing them to operate from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., and also allowing beer and wine sales to occur between the hours of 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Which brings us to tonight's project, in which the applicant is proposing a major modification to the original conditional use permit as modified by that recently approved minor modification. And the request is to replace the previously approved operational conditions with 3 new conditions that would ultimately allow the project site to operate 24 hours. And these new conditions would be condition 6.19, which, as mentioned, would extend the hours of operation for the convenience store and gas pumps to 24 hours a day. Condition 6.20, which would allow beer and wine sales to occur between the hours of 6 a.m. and 1 a.m., consistent with California ABC regulations. And lastly, condition 6.21, which would call for the site to secure the alcoholic beverages when they are not for sale between the hours of 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. daily. The Irvine Police Department did review this request, and they expressed no concerns with extending the hours of operation due to multiple conditions of approval included in this request that would mitigate the potential for any issues caused by extending the operations. These included a comprehensive convenience store security plan that would be shared with and reviewed by the Irvine Police Department, ultimately for compliance with their Irvine Uniform Security Code, and also requirements that seek to enhance security such as camera surveillance systems and clear window visibility. In terms of environmental review and public outreach, the project is exempt from further analysis per Section 15301 of the California Environmental Quality Act. On September 25th, a public hearing notice was mailed and posted, and staff did receive 3 comments expressing concerns related to the expanded hours of store and alcohol sales. With that, staff's recommendation is to adopt the resolution approving the conditional use permit modification. And that concludes staff's presentation. Staff and the applicant are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate the presentation. I will ask the applicant if they have anything to add to it.
Good evening, Chair Pearson, members of the Planning Commission. Tim Strader with Starpoint Ventures, consultant to APRO LLC, the property owner. And I would just like to thank staff for their work on this and the review of both the public safety group and the staff. The main reason we're here, as Eric mentioned, is when we did the minor mod several months ago, the hours were such that it did not allow this particular convenience store to be competitive with others in the neighborhood. So we did a survey, and I think staff has a map if you'd like to see it, but there are numerous other convenience stores, Arcos, Shells, Circle K's, et cetera, that operate 24 hours a day and also are able to sell beer and wine for those extended hours. So that's why we came back for this major mod in order to level the playing field and allow this particular location to be consistent with others throughout the city. So Al Bodette, the owner of the property, is here if you have any operational questions or any other concerns about the project, but we urge your approval tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. And stay close because we probably will have a couple questions. At this time, I will ask whether or not there are public comments.
If anyone on Zoom wishes to speak, now is the time to raise your hand. We will take speakers in the chamber first. Chair Pearson, we do not have any public comments on this item.
Okay, thank you very much. I will then open this up to our commission for questions or comments, and I'll start with Jeff.
So there are other, thank you for the presentation. So there are other stores that are open 24 hours that also sell beer and wine for these same 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. time frame.
Yes, so we looked at a handful of locations in Irvine, and you can see them here on this slide. The top listing of sites are 24-hour gas station convenience stores with alcohol sales limited between 6 a.m. and 12 a.m., so a little bit more restrictive. And then the bottom two, they don't have limitations in terms of the hours for alcohol sales. But as you can see, there are a handful, and these would have come to the Planning Commission for their review because they have associated conditionally permitted uses, which would be the convenience store aspect. So to answer your question, yes, there are.
Okay. And assume since the police didn't have an issue with this, they haven't really found problems with these existing stores for loitering or, I don't know, I guess other unsavory activity.
They did not express any concerns about this project. Correct.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Seth?
Could you, in our briefing, I did ask about the police report. Could you elaborate on any types of concerns that may have, or any types of disturbances that have been noted with areas around late night sales of alcohol? So what did the police say has happened around our community?
I can have Chris, if you don't.
Sure, yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, we did have the police department look into police calls for service going back to several years. And, there were really, I was pretty surprised that the data was pretty minimal. And they were, they referred to them as simple assaults, but they were kind of, one of the incidents where like someone hit someone with a purse that were, resulted in a call. And so there were only a handful of like theft type incidents, like literally 2 shoplifting incidents and 1 bike theft. So it didn't really tell much in terms of that there's a concern at other locations. And these are looking at the 9 locations you see on the list here. So it was a pretty comprehensive look at what are the activities at night, and also the incidents that occurred, those simple assaults. They occurred during kind of early morning, not early morning, but like 5:30 a.m., 7 a.m., 12 p.m., and then during noon. None of them were occurring during the late hours.
Okay. I do want to just acknowledge I have received 3 phone calls from people in the community across Irvine Boulevard and across on Yale that, how do I say, concerns about how this may play out over 6 months, 12 months as people begin to understand how get used to the new opportunities essentially for purchasing alcohol. So what I guess I wanted to ask was, do we have any ways of monitoring it, looking at remediation if there is an issue? I'll use as an example, last meeting when we approved the Club Studio Fitness, we introduced a remediation if the parking turned out to be too difficult. So we weren't going to put it in place, but if they needed it, it could be valet parking, it could be tandem parking, something along that lines. I had asked staff to look at, would there be a potential for us to maybe at 6 months' time have a look in case anything went here and what those remediation efforts, did staff have a chance to look at that?
We did, and we drafted a condition should the commission want to add a condition to the project. It's shown here on the slide. Effectively, it would require the applicant to provide safety reports at 6 months after occupancy or 12 months after occupancy, or 6 months and 12 months rather. And really, if there were any concerns noted, we would require them to address those concerns both at the 6 month and 12 month mark.
So would this condition currently add any requirement to them, for as what they're doing today, or would it only be in the case of problems 6 months from now?
The only new requirement would be to provide the report. It wouldn't change any of their operational features.
Okay. For the consideration of the fellow commissioners, I think this could be an interesting way of just giving us a backup. I'm very positive towards looking at this. I want to encourage all of our businessmen to be able to move forward, but it gives us a chance at 6 months maybe to, and I would only look at 6 months just to make sure that there's no issues then that we have and we could remediate it quickly before moving forward. I don't want this to be an ongoing issue, but I think this would be something worth considering. And I have no further questions.
Thank you, Seth. John?
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the presentation. I also appreciate the due diligence of looking at the competitive environment of this particular location, as well as the pre-discussions that went on with IPD. And seeing as that how it also meets California regulations, I don't see, in my mind, a reason not to support this. I think that, especially in a competitive environment, I feel that if we did not support this, it would unnecessarily hamper a long-time business that has existed in Irvine. So that's my opinion. The other thing I also wanted to point out, just as a comment, is that, when a place of business like this exists on a 24-hour basis, not everyone that walks in there at 1 in the morning is buying alcohol. It's a convenience store like this, when the bigger retailers, most of them close around 10 o'clock or earlier, offer actually a tangible benefit to the community and nearby residents. So I would just like to point that out as well. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I'll go on to Brenda.
Thank you, Chair. Could you pull up that list of all the existing stores that we have? Okay. I just noticed this southmost location is in Alton, and I don't know if the university, UCI, has anything to do with, well, I guess there's less residential down that way, perhaps. But the proximity to a university where a lot more of the students would be has anything to do with whether we would approve something like this or not? Does that play a factor into these types of decisions?
No, that specifically hasn't played a factor. We look at compatibility, and certainly as part of that, we look at safety concerns. But the proximity to students at UCI has not been a specific factor that we've looked at.
Okay. Other than that, all my questions have been answered by the presentation and the applicant. So thank you.
Thank you. Arnis?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for staff and for the applicant being present today. I just want to let people know my mother was a manager for a gas station for many years, and my stepfather, till the day he died, he actually died on the job. He transported gasoline, so I understand this is important because that just provides jobs, but also it helps the community in many ways. That being said, thank you, staff. I did speak to the applicant because I was curious to see what data was out there, and I appreciate this slide that shows the different neighboring convenience stores that offer these services, but also they're limited in some ways. One of my last points I want to bring up is I do know some of the people around this area for many years, and I know some of them have expressed concerns about the services, because this is going to be new. But at the same time, I had a question for the applicant. If you're going to restrict the alcohol sales, how would you do that? Like with current technology, like would the door be locked or like a key or electronic? Like how would you?
Good evening, Commissioner. My name's Al Boquette, and I'm one of the partners in the company. And typically the way it works is that there's a locking mechanism on the door. It's a manual lock with a key. So our staff locks those doors during hours that you are not allowed to sell.
That's great. And would you have any like alcohol products? Like, for instance, I went to the grocery store like in Woodbury, I won't name it, but sometimes the alcohol is like laid out like on an end cap near the register, like it's not refrigerated. Would you have products of that nature like out like that, or is it all in the fridge?
There will be some product that would be out, but that product would also be controlled in the same manner.
Okay. That being said, I have no other further questions.
Thank you. Raj, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, applicant, for this presentation. It's very important and vital for the business to obviously thrive and sustain, and having an increase in the hours of operation would certainly help. I could vouch that even having at 6 a.m. beer sales I've witnessed when I go from LA Fitness to in the Woodbury Town Center to Ralph's, I would see a lot of construction crew that would purchase their beer and plan their entire day. So that certainly does help. You're really competing against Pavilions and Ralph's because you're right in the epicenter there at around the Irvine Boulevard. So I am totally fine with that. I just had a question, and this is kind of an off topic. It's perhaps relevant to you, but I do understand that there's also a grocery chain, Zion Market, in that same plaza, correct? Okay. And being that the city of Irvine has a cart ordinance, there's also a new law that just passed 3 days ago, the SB 753, that could penalize any retailer up to $100 for their carts to be out of the property. My only concern is, and I don't know how this works with optics, but having a convenience store open for that long and the beer sales and homeless possibilities, and I know they love shopping carts and they love to drink sometimes. So if they were to take, if it's not contained, a shopping cart from Zion out into the streets with their beer, walking wherever, all of a sudden that shopping cart's out for 3 days, and per this law, Zion Market would be dinged. So I'm just kind of thinking in my head holistically how that could affect. Other than that, I really don't know any other issues with this. So I fully support it, but I just wanted to bring that up because that's just passed like 3 days ago. It's a California SB 753. But yeah, no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Just for a point of clarification, a Type 20 ABC license is beer and wine, no additional hard spirits.
Chair Pearson, that's correct.
Okay. So we're looking at a situation where we've got a number of previously approved vendors that are within the 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. or no condition or limitation. I like what Seth had talked about, but my question to staff is, are any of these organizations, locations, subject to a reporting cycle to community development?
Based on our research, thank you, Chair, that was not something that we had conditioned on these sites.
Okay, see, I don't want to put one of our location corporate citizens in any type of a less favorable position. I agree that, IPD has come and said that the majority of the incidents are in daytime, and they're very few. They're not of any nature, they're minimal incidents. So the history of these locations do not circumvent or prevent me from approving this location with the request for the 24 hours and the time limits that they're asking to be able to sell alcoholic beverages. I do note that I think under type 20, you can sell alcohol all the way to 2 a.m.
That's correct, Chair.
So we're not at the full maximum, and I would have to agree with the majority of my commission members that, with IPD stating that there is not a problem, then I don't have a problem. Any other comments?
I have a question. Without Seth's amendment, if we found 3 months from now there were increased instances of people getting hit with purses or people stealing shopping carts, would we have any ability to address those from the cities?
Yeah, our code does have a provision that would allow us to revoke an application if there are safety concerns. So there is a provision in the code for us to do that if we needed to.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seth, go ahead.
So, Chair, I fully understand, and I do want to move forward along with my fellow commissioners on the approval. I actually appreciate Commissioner Parks. I do think this adds a tremendous value to the community. So the reason why I'm suggesting this amendment is first of all, I don't believe it'll ever happen based on what IPD. Having said that, though, I think if our only scenario is revoking, I certainly don't want to get to that point. That is not even something that I would like to consider. Just as we had with with the fitness, we don't want to be getting to revoking someone's permit or license to do business. Zero interest in doing that. This is simply saying we recognize that there are remediation efforts that will be short of revoking a permit, and it allows us to address the concerns that have been brought up by a number of community members and neighbors about potential vagrancy issues or loitering type issues or homeless type issues. So it's really trying to avoid getting to a revoking of a permit type issue and having the dialogue if in the scenario that this happens. But that's really the principle. I'm not in any way trying to object to this, and that's why I asked. I do not want to add any cost to the applicant. I don't want to make them have to add any cameras or anything like that. I just want to have a 6-month check-in to make sure that we're not having any problems. As we didn't have, and just to address one of your other comments, we didn't necessarily for fitness centers, all the other fitness centers have parking conditions put in. It's just something that as we talk together and we look at where we are in the city of Irvine today, we're looking at different ways that we can manage it. So that's really where the condition is coming from.
I'd like to ask the applicant whether or not they have looked at this or have any objection to it, if it is included in the approval.
Before addressing that, I just wanted to ask one thing. Maybe Stephanie or Jennifer or Alyssa could clarify. Is it truly all or nothing? Is it, like Commissioner Grossman was saying, is it either revoke or not, or does the city have the ability to ask for different operational characteristics if there's an issue, and it's not just revoke or nothing?
I had an idea, because this is kind of mimicking our site parking condition issue, right? The condition that we have. That one isn't tied to a specific time and requiring a report at a time. It is triggered by if a condition arises in the future. So maybe we could word it more closely to that, saying that if an issue arises in the future, the applicant has to come and work it out with me in this instance. We could kind of modify it that way. So just to give you a little bit of confidence on your side that if something comes up in the end, it won't be straight to revocation. There could be a way to work it out, but also gives you a level of comfort that there is a way to address that.
That absolutely meets the spirit of what I'm trying to communicate, so I'd be amenable to that alteration.
Answer your question too, Tim?
So I guess I'd rather have the one-time 6-month report and be done with it. But if that's already there anyway, maybe you could expand on how that condition would be changed, or we could put it up on the screen. Not this one, but if you were to change the, you said there's a parking condition.
Yeah, we have a standard condition we use if site parking issues arise on a project. Let me see what we can do on that. Can I have a minute to wordsmith?
This condition is identified a reporting period of 6 months and 12 months after the effective date. Does that stop at the 12-month period? Alyssa?
Yeah, the way it's currently written, it would stop at the 12-month period.
So then there would be 2 reports that need to be made, and those reports are only if there's a detailed log of police calls to service the project site.
Yes, and then I also believe I heard Commissioner Grossman say that he had a desire to strike the language, if that's correct, related to the 12-month mark.
I was comfortable with 6 months as just to make sure that no behaviors are changing in the community, and we've had a successful implementation of this. So I'd be comfortable with only a 6-month check-in. So the idea would be that the police report would come out, assuming that there's no issues with the police report, that we haven't seen an increase, there would be nothing happen, and you would be on the same level playing field as every other operation in the community. If there was, then we would sit down with community development and discuss how to remediate. That's it.
So we don't have an objection to the concept, but back to my original question, doesn't the city already have, without adding any new conditions or including this one, doesn't the city already have the ability, like you said, you could revoke, but don't you also have the ability to not go that far, but to say, we think that the way you're displaying your alcohol, for example, is causing problems, and we'd like you to change it to something else, for example?
Yeah, I think I can take that question. The short answer is yes. The city has a variety of tools in its box to deal with any problematic business owner in the city, regardless of whether it's a convenience store or related to the sale of liquor. So beyond revocation of entitlement or a CUP, certainly we have code enforcement at our disposal, we have police services at our disposal, and a variety of tools that go along with both of those agencies. I know that in the past in this city and other city, when we've had problems, sometimes just an informal discussion is enough to resolve it. So that's not a technical tool, but it is a tool that we have used successfully in, again, this city and other cities.
Chair, a point of inquiry.
Yes, John.
To be honest, I'm a little unclear on this condition because I feel that it's it's really generalized and vague. If we are to implement this type of condition, wouldn't we have to define specifically things like frequency and all of those kind of things? Because I'm not sure how. And then also, wouldn't we have to look at the competitive environment as well? For example, as an example, if frequency increases at this particular site, wouldn't we also have to make sure that this is site-specific and not just the environment itself or the city itself? I mean, it seems like there's a lot of specifics that are missing here.
I think we're opening Pandora's box by trying to condition, a specific site like this when you've got it part of a major shopping center. I believe that Jennifer has expressed that we have sufficient code and enforcement capabilities within our current laws and ordinances. And should we find that this establishment is operating outside of the norm, then I believe that the city can take action and modify the methodology and operations. So, you know, this is a touchy subject to us because we know alcohol has issues with its with the users, some of them. And I would be very hesitant, though, to condition 1 out of 9 locations with this, given that we do have sufficient capabilities within the city to enforce our codes with Irvine Police. So I will continue the discussion if somebody else, Brandon, do you want to say?
And I think I appreciate that we're addressing some of the community concerns. You know, Commissioner Grossman and I think Commissioner De La Cruz did receive comments from members of the public who had concerns about the hours and the alcohol. Having said that, I'm just not seeing how this condition would add anything different. Let's say the applicant comes back and in 6 months or 12 months comes back and tells us what the police have already logged, that they're fully aware of. At that point, what would change compared to not having that condition? Nothing in terms of how we respond. So I guess I'm just not seeing the full value of this condition. And, you know, I think, thankfully, our law enforcement has been doing a great job and does a great job to address these concerns. So I just don't want to add something I just don't see the value of. So having said that, you know, perhaps you want to open it up for a second, and if not, then we can move on, or if so, then we can vote on it.
Yeah. I think after this discussion, and especially thank you very much to our city attorney over there, I think I'll actually withdraw the condition. I think that now understanding that we have more in the toolbox, I think that could be addressed. And I would just ask that we monitor closely, given the sensitivities around the sale of alcohol going forward, and we just keep an eye on this. But I will withdraw that condition, and in fact, since I have the mic, I'll make a motion for approval. Oh,
wait, did I close the public hearing?
I think I just heard you close it.
Okay. I have closed the public hearing. I just wanted to make sure, and we now have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
And we have a second. So let us vote.
Chairperson, the motion to adopt the resolution as is has passed unanimously.
Very good. And I thank our commissioners for a very well-thought discussion on this one. Thank you to the applicant, and we hope your business is very successful with the new operating hours, and we'll go from there. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Chris, thank you very much. Given that I don't believe we have any other further business, Director Frady?
That's it.
Then I will officially adjourn tonight's meeting until the next time we meet, which
November
is
6th.
November 6th. Thank you.